Since the first tanks crawled through the mud of World War I, they've ruled the battlefield. For more than a century, these machines have been the kings of land warfare. They broke enemy lines, crushed defenses, and turned battles in a matter of minutes. Their combination of armor, firepower, and mobility made them one of the greatest inventions in military history. Entire strategies were built around their strength, and whole armies were designed to support them. Even today, most nations still see tanks as the backbone of their ground forces. They remain the ultimate symbol of power and dominance on the battlefield. So how is it that Ukraine, fighting one of the most intense ground conflicts in modern history, seems to need them less and less? For over 100 years, tanks were unstoppable because they combined protection, power, and mobility. But the battlefield they were built for no longer exists. The war in Ukraine takes place in a world where almost nothing goes unseen. From small drones hovering overhead to satellites hundreds of kilometers above, every move leaves a digital trace. Heat, sound, or even the faint radio signal of a vehicle's communication system. This constant visibility changes everything. In older wars, tanks could move through fog, smoke, or open terrain, surprising their opponents. Today, moving is the opposite of hiding. As soon as a tank starts its engine, a dozen sensors might already be watching. David Kirichenko, writing for SIPA, documented how that change feels inside the armor itself. Bovden, callsign Vendetta, a 23-year-old operator from the 28th Separate Mechanized Brigade, told him, "What I enjoy most about driving a tank is when you sit down and drive, and you feel the power of the tank. It's as if the enemy can't do anything to you. But that feeling no longer matches reality." Crews like Bovden's now move with hesitation, aware that every open stretch of land could be watched from above. The roar of an engine that once signaled strength can now draw the attention of a drone miles away. So they wait, for cloud cover, for nightfall, for anything that blurs the sky's relentless gaze. Another soldier, Victor, callsign B, admitted that tanks aren't as effective as they once were. He said it's rare to see tank-on-tank encounters anymore. The fight has changed. The enemy isn't always another machine. Sometimes, it's visibility itself. And that shift in awareness is where everything starts to break down, because in this war, being seen is enough to stop you before you ever reach the fight. That visibility doesn't just make life harder, it changes how combat itself works. In the past, spotting a tank didn't guarantee you could hit it. You needed another tank or a large anti-tank weapon nearby. Now, spotting it is almost the same as stopping it. Here's how that happens. Small drones fly routine patrols over entire regions. Some send back live video. Others detect heat. When one of them identifies the silhouette or infrared signature of a tank, that information doesn't stay local. It travels instantly through networks of artillery and strike teams. Within minutes, the tank's location becomes known across the entire front. This is why movement equals risk. Every kilometer forward increases the chance of detection. Every detection invites a strike. So even before a tank fires a single round, it's already fighting for its own survival. That leads to the next evolution. The rise of small, cheap, intelligent drones that exploit exactly what tanks can't change: their size, their heat, and their cost. A detailed analysis from the National Security Journal in April 2025, "Ukraine War Kamikaze Drones Could Make the Tank Obsolete," describes this shift in simple but alarming terms. Drone operators now patrol above armored columns, watching for movement. Once they spot a tank, they mark its position and wait. Then, an explosive-loaded kamikaze drone is launched. It flies low, hugging terrain to stay unseen, and then dives straight onto the tank's roof, the thinnest part of its armor. Even a small impact can disable sensors, damage the turret, or ignite fuel systems. That entire sequence, detection, confirmation, attack, can happen in under 5 minutes. And the cost difference is staggering. A $30,000 drone disabling a vehicle worth millions. Tanks were built to dominate through mass and momentum, but drones flip that equation. Speed, precision, and information now win against armor and weight. A tank doesn't travel alone. Behind every one of them is a chain: fuel trucks, mechanics, spare parts, recovery vehicles. When a single tank is hit or immobilized, that chain is forced to respond. Crews must pause, reroute supplies, and send repair teams that are themselves vulnerable to observation. This creates a domino effect. Each time a tank is struck, not only does the vehicle stop, the logistics network behind it slows too. The International Institute for Strategic Studies wrote in its 2025 Military Balance Report that Ukraine's heavy armor requires a level of logistical support that is difficult to sustain under constant aerial observation. In simple terms, even keeping tanks running has become a battle in itself. So Ukraine's commanders started to adapt. They began asking, if drones and sensors already dominate the sky, is it wiser to invest in more tanks, or in systems that can outsmart the sky itself? That question leads to a major change in doctrine: the cautious tank. Instead of leading attacks, tanks now move in support roles, striking from safer positions and changing location before drones can retarget them. A Ukrainian crew member described it to SEPA this way: "We fire, we move, we hide, then we fire again. It's not cowardice, it's evolution. The battlefield rewards whoever stays hidden the longest. Tanks have traded bold charges for smart positioning, using cover, camouflage, and coordination with electronic warfare units that jam enemy drone signals. And when drone jamming is impossible, tanks rely on timing, moving only at night or during short weather windows when drone visibility drops. Every kilometer advance now depends on coordination between ground vehicles, drone operators, and intelligence teams. Tanks no longer lead, they follow the information. Once we understand this new logic, we see why Ukraine's priorities are shifting. Keeping one modern tank operational, with training, fuel, spare parts, and repairs, can equal the cost of maintaining an entire fleet of surveillance and strike drones. CPA's analysis notes that some Ukrainian brigades now field 10 or more drones for every armored vehicle. That's not random, it's economic adaptation. If the same budget buys 10 sets of eyes in the sky instead of one giant target on the ground, the choice becomes obvious. This change isn't about abandoning tradition, it's about survival and efficiency. Where tanks once represented power, now information represents power. Knowing first, acting first, spending less. All of this points to a new kind of combined force, where manned and unmanned systems work together. A drone detects, an artillery battery calculates, a tank finishes the job only when it's safe. In the future, the tank might not disappear. It might just become a final instrument in a much larger orchestra of sensors, jammers, and autonomous scouts. The National Security Journal and CIPA both highlight this transition. The tank is no longer the hero of the story. It's one actor in a broader network of information and timing. And Ukraine, under pressure, is learning this lesson faster than anyone else. So why doesn't Ukraine need tanks? At least not like before. Because the world that made tanks dominant has changed completely. The ground is still there. The steel is still strong, but the eyes above and the data that flows between them have rewritten the rules. Tanks were built for an age when armor could protect you. Today, what protects you is invisibility, speed, and coordination. That's why Ukraine, while still using tanks, doesn't depend on them the way old armies did. The future isn't about the heaviest machine, it's about the smartest network. And on that new battlefield, the symbol of dominance isn't a tank crossing the plains. It's the unseen drone quietly circling above, holding the power to decide whether that tank ever moves again.